Hello, and hey, welcome to MODUS. Hey, I have an exciting offer that I want to get by to you. So there, for folks out there right now, if you're aware, Lidar is actually increasing. So we went to the most recent commercial UAV Expo show, and everybody had Lidar in their booth, whether they borrowed it from one of the main vendors or they're actually manufacturing it themselves. But Lidar is definitely the up and coming thing for 2020. With that said, though, is what we've been doing this for 5 or 6 years, in addition to our government our backgrounds where we did this professionally. And what we're seeing is that inside the ecosystems, a lot of folks that have adopted drone technology and they're using drone deploy or they're using Pix 4D and they're doing photogrammetry and maybe they're rocking it, maybe they're not. You know, Mostly because maybe they don't understand what the data standards are supposed to be. But then they're starting to jump into LiDAR, and that is totally different on how LiDAR behaves versus photogrammetry. So they're going off. They've spent a lot of money on this, and they're trying to pitch. And there's been a lot of exaggeration on what LiDAR can and can't do, and more importantly, how do you do it, and how do you do it correctly so that you're delivering a product that an engineering firm or survey firm will accept, or that if you are that engineering firm and surveying firm, that you're getting the results that you demand. So we've built this over the last 5 years. This is a product that we've actually offered for our LiDAR sales and rentals, and also for our enterprise clients that are looking to build out workflows and take advantage of this. But over the last year, we've gotten a lot of inquiries on wanting to take this, but they can't pay the $4,000, $5,000 for the base course. And so we said, well, hey, while we're in the heart of winter, where everybody's construction season's down, why don't we offer a few event courses where we can actually sell this by the seat and make this affordable for folks? And so that's what we're doing here for this limited time. And you come to San Diego, enjoy the sand, and get out of the snow and the Arctic blast that's coming across the U.S. right now. But yeah, the other thing is that as we developed this, we've worked with a lot of LiDAR specialists, experts, photogrammetry experts, GIS experts, and we've done grant studies that actually have been documented to get to the bottom of what works and what doesn't in the ecosystem. So that whether it's in utilities, it's in DoD, it's in survey, in forensics. We've worked to get those type precisions on a variety of different equipment. We've done comparisons, and so you'll find that the techniques that we're going to put out, which are going to be germane across everybody's equipment, are going to conform into ASPRS standards, USGS standards, USDA or forestry standards, FEMA, and even the DOTs that have already put their mobile and are getting ready to put their aerial drone LiDAR standards out into documentation. I think what's important is the takeaway from here is that when you get done with this in this 2 days, and it's going to be a fast 2 days, let me tell you, you better have a very sharp pencil because we're going to go fast. We're going to deliver data that, again, that construction company, engineering company, or survey company is going to accept. And that's the key thing that I'm going to keep on pounding here, is that that we're going to get you quality data. And what we find here, and what this course is going to be, is there's two camps out there. There's the camp of folks that have gone to college and are using open source, and they know how to process LiDAR data after it's been smoothed and cleaned up and what have you. And then there's another group out there that are the collectors of data. So they understand how to collect this in the field, how to set everything up, but may or may not know how to process this into further on data products that you can use to make a decision. And so this course really is supposed to bridge the gap. We're going to show you how to plan for it, take in the considerations of what equipment you should be using for when, and how do you base that a little bit on ROI, and then how do you have to set all that up. But then we'll also take you into getting knowledge on your data deliverables, and because when you're in the field, you need to take into account what the end state is going to be for that data. The other thing, and I think I touched on it basically, is that this technology is not new, but it is new for a lot of folks that are getting into the drone space, or more importantly, I think is that there's more access to this than ever before. And that the way you approach LiDAR, which is much more unforgiving, at least in the field application of it than photogrammetry, is that you really had to hone down those procedures. And we've spent a lot of time perfecting those, and so that you can learn from our 5 years of struggling and working with experts, on all that. So hopefully we'll accelerate you in a way that most people will not. The other thing is that there's a lot of misconceptions on control and field practices. And so there's a lot of integrators, manufacturers out there that are making some slight exaggerations, let's put it that way. And they may know or may not know. And that's the big thing. We've worked with some folks that are great, but we still had to take it up a notch to really figure out how do we hone this data into something that is really usable. So we're going to go into those field practices, into control, which is a big deal, and tell you what works, what doesn't, and how do you get results, and also what are the trade-offs, because there'll be some folks that will come in here and go, well, I'm not doing all that, and you don't have to, but you have to understand what the trade-offs are when you're actually trying to certify your data or you're trying to do the process. Now, for those folks that have never flown a drone, we are going to fly drones. If you've never flown drones or you haven't flown big drones, that's okay. Okay, so you will be paired up, with somebody that, like myself, that's been flying for 20 plus years, both with drones and aircraft, and have been doing this with LiDAR. You're going to have a professional. Now, mind you, at the same time, we'll teach you advanced flight automation practices. But this isn't a drone flight course. So we're not really going to teach you how to fly as much as teach you how to fly better for LiDAR. So we want to be very specific on that. But if you haven't flown before, that's okay, because that leads into the next thing I'll probably bring out is that, while we'll be doing the field work, which is, so that's our surveyors and our drone operators, if you're not one of those guys, that's okay too. A lot of folks bring their GIS, their back office special folks, and even their contracting officers, so that they can all look at this training from a different perspective, and so the operator is often going to look at it from the flight, but he needs to understand what the data is going to be, how it's going to be collected and processed. The person processing needs to know how that stuff is collected so they know what the attributes they are, how they need to configure it. And even the contracting officer, if you're one of those, this is invaluable, because from here you may not be the expert, but you're now going to know that workflow from front to end and everything else that's entailed with it. You're going to have a good, firm concept of this technology. So if you're in procurement and you're going to be buying this, we're going to go over the different attributes of the different systems, not just the LiDAR heads, but even the internal components and the software, and help with that selection process. But even if you have a project and you're going to pay for service, or you're going to stand up your own, now you know what is involved here so that you can make an educated decision and you have firsthand knowledge. So does that make sense? Yeah, I wish I would have had that when I first started, a good, strong mentor to help me get through that when I'm writing my first sets of contracts. And if you're one of those guys that do this all the time, great, don't come. But yeah, it is a little different, and everybody that has come has gotten a lot of value out of that, and have been successful. But the other thing is, we sell equipment, and we rent equipment. This 2-day course is going to be equipment agnostic. And so what do I mean by that? What I mean is that you should be able to take what we give you and be able to go into anybody's system. I don't care. This isn't a sales pitch. This is about learning how to do LiDAR. If you're good at LiDAR, you should be able to use anybody's system and get performance. So there's no secret or mystery here. And how do we do that? Yes, we're going to be showing you on specific equipment and software, but we're going to break this down in such a way that you'll know what's going on. And the only difference will be a button push here, or a GUI or interface looking thing there. They may have automation, but now you know what's going on behind their automation. You'll know how to set it up, and if they have it all in one big component, you'll still know what's going on there And I think this is going to weigh heavy or have more value than just learning somebody's piece of equipment and then getting stuck with just that train of thought. So we're going to break this down into its key elements so that you can use anybody's equipment. The last thing I'd say is that you're going to get access as part of this course to all our operating procedures and our techniques, and our mindset, or at least before I came in and stood up this company, in the Navy, this is what we used to do. We would be given a sensor, we'd be given a mission, and we'd have to go figure it out. And that's what we've done in MODUS, is that we've actually looked at lidar technology and had to sit down and go, okay, this is based on what we have, how do we get the best results? And so our techniques and procedures are all outlined. We're going to give those to you, and give you access to that. Plus you're more than free to call us up afterwards if you needed to consult on how things may be a little different on this drone, or how things may be different on your base station or some of the equipment. So I guess, what should we cover here? I mean, in this, what are we going to cover in this course? And so this is going to be a fast course. I'm pretty excited, actually, but yeah, your head's going to be spinning when we get it done here. Because I mean, the first thing we're going to cover is the base technology. How does this stuff work? If you don't know that, the flight, the post-processing, even the control won't make a lot of sense. And we're going to cover that technology in a very agnostic point of view. We're going to cover folks that have dual GPS and single GPS and fog gyros and all those different things that add up, data recorders and all of that. Then we're going to go into accuracy standards. I'm so choked up I can't get through it all. But no, and what those are, and where do you find them in a statement of work, and where do you find those to reference, and what do they mean when you're correlating it to a sensor they're going to bring out in the field. And then we're going to add a layer to that, and then we're going to talk about certifying. And accuracy may be talking about the points or the series of points, but this certifying is actually talking about the whole data set. And so we're going to talk about what those are for both vegetated and non-vegetated states. Then you're going to get into, for the folks that like to fly, we're going to actually share our advanced flight automation procedures for LiDAR. We're going to break it down. We'll talk about different sensor considerations and different topography. We'll look at it from area scans and, for feature extraction and down linear. And there's different ways to do all of that, for these sensors. So we're going to cover that along with the field setup. You're going to see from A to Z how we set up in the field. And you're going to go fly it, and you're going to get your hands on all that equipment. We're going to spend a whole half day just on that. Then we're going to get back into the classroom, and we're going to actually process this data. We'll show you how to do rapid processing, which isn't as accurate, but it helps you proofread or check your data. But then we'll also show you how to rapidly get it to an LAS cloud, take a look at the metadata. If you have to strip match, we'll cover the overview of strip matching and what that takes, so that you get to the point that you can actually deliver your first deliverable, which is a point cloud. But we don't stop there. We're actually going to take you through and at least start to break down the standards for the different basic data deliverables as well. So we'll break that down. Anybody can tell you what they are, but we're actually going to tell you what the standards are. And I think that will be a real value in addition to that. And then the last thing we're going to do, which I think nobody's offering right now, and this really is kind of core to what we are, we're going to take and show you different data samples and give you suggestions. This is based on our LiDAR buying guide on what you use for each sensor. Most folks will go and try to buy the biggest thing they can, but we're talking about, okay, how do you get the best return on investment based on your company's needs? And so we'll break that down to show you the good, the bad, and the ugly. And I have no problem showing people all of that, and so, because there's equipment based for everybody's need, and I don't condemn any of it. Everything has a specific purpose, and so we're going to show you that so you can make a good business decision, whether you're buying, servicing, what have you. And then I think the biggest thing I'm going to say here at the end, as I'm trying to wrap up, is that I wouldn't wait. And the reason why I'm telling you not to wait is this is a beta. We're doing this because there's been a bit of a demand, but after January and this time sets up, we're going back in, we're going to start offering a 5-day course, and we're going to do this through ASPRS. and we're going to do this through our university education partners. So this really is it. I mean, I'm not really making this up. I'm not going to offer this, at $400, $500, like what I'm doing here. This is a very special deal. So, we know that, that everybody's time is limited. We set this up for this time frame where there wouldn't be a lot of folks working in the field where they have competing construction projects. And we picked this because, it's winter time and, you deserve to have a good vacation. So yeah, I mean, if you look at comparables for the integrators and the engineering partners out there, I mean, you're going to pay for a 2-day course $4,000 to $10,000 depending on who you're going with. And it's not cheap. So I hope that you seize this opportunity for what it is, and you take advantage of this, because I will not be offering this again in this format at this price. This really is to be a convenience to help the community and accelerate everybody's LiDAR business needs as we get ready for 2020. So I hope you seize onto this, and I look forward. Please, either click the registration link if I have this up on YouTube, or if it's on the webpage, click on one of the green buttons there, and that will take you to the registration page where you can sign up. I look forward to teaching with you and working with you, and drinking some beer with you as well. So I hope to see you there and talk with you soon.